Hello students, good morning again, and we are back with a new video of the chapter Constitutional Design. This is part second. In the part first, we have seen the African system of apartheid, that the discrimination was made by the white people uh, to the black minority people, and basically everything was separate for the white and the black peoples. Black people were not allowed to enter in the white areas, and even their hotels, taxis, and hospitals, buses, everything was different. But they struggled a lot, and finally in 1994 Africa becomes African Republic, and Nelson Mandela became the first black president of the Africa. Now this is the second part of the video, in which we will discuss about why do we need a constitution and how the Indian constitution was made. Let's see why the constitution is required. There are few reasons for that. Basically, first reason is it generates a degree of trust and coordination between the citizens that is necessary for the different kind of peoples to live together. Yes, if we are having certain rules and regulations which are applicable to all the people equally, and these kind of rules generate a degree of trust. Yes, if I just talk about the Indian society, we do have Hindu people, Muslim people, Sikh people, Christians are also there in our country, and some other religions are also found. But if I say constitution just generate a degree of trust, yes, it is absolutely there, because rules and regulations are equally applicable to all the people, and they do not discriminate between the people on the basis of religion, caste, creed, or anything else. It specifies how the government will be constituted, who will have the power to take which decisions. Yes, constitution specifies that. Everything is there in the written form in the constitution, that what is the process of constitution, elections, what is the process of forming the, framing the government, and how much powers are there with the government. Government also have certain limitations. The limitations are also mentioned in the constitution, and the powers are also mentioned in the constitution. Also, it lays down the limits on the powers of the government and tells us what are the rights for the citizens are. Yes, constitution provides us the basic fundamental rights that are required by us to grow more, because rights are those opportunities which provide us more and more opportunities to develop ourselves. So constitution lay down certain limits on the government, and it just mentioned the fundamental rights of the people. It also expressed the aspirations of the people about creating a good society, and definitely constitution was made by the Constituent Assembly, and Constituent Assembly was representative of the people. One representative from the every 10 lakh people was there in the Constituent Assembly, and the aspirations of the people were basically fulfilled by the Constituent Assembly. This is a constitution of people. Let's see how the constitution was made. Making of the Indian constitution. Students, let's see, the constitution making in India was not an easy process, because we just started the framing of our constitution in the 1946 formally, but informally we just started the process in 1928 with the Motilal Nehru Committee report, and then Karachi session of Congress, and finally many more things were there. Let's see one by one. What were the difficulties in India? Basically, India's population was very huge and diverse, and to create a constitution for a huge and diverse population was really very difficult task. So that okay, if you see, there were different languages, different religions, different customs, culture, and the way of talking, wearing of the clothes, eating habits, all the things were totally different in the country for different peoples. So to make certain rules on which every citizen of the country will agree upon was a difficult task. Second one was given that country was born throughout a through a partition of the country between India and Pakistan on the basis of religion, and that religion basically killed, that religious conflicts that just arise between the people after the partition of the country. Around 10 lakh people lost their lives, both sides. Next reason was basically the British had left it to the rulers of the princely states to decide whether they want to merge with India, or whether they want to merge with Pakistan, or they want to remain independent. That create the feeling of remaining the independent or independence in the minds of the princely states. So they announced their independence. So it was a Herculean task for the Indian government, for Sardar Patel, VP Menon, Jawaharlal Nehru, to merge all the princely states in Indian territory. But yes, Sardar Patel and VP Menon, they did a tremendous job, and yes, because of their effort, India is in this position that we are one unit. Also, to satisfy the aspirations of the huge population was a difficult task. Different people have different expectations from the government, and the constitution was made under extreme pressurized situations where people, they were having different aspirations, and Constituent Assembly was supposed to fulfill all these aspirations. It was quite a difficult task. Let's try to understand how the Constituent Assembly did it. The path to Constitution. Yes, as I have told you earlier also, the Constitution making just started in the year 1946, but informally, or we can say that its roots were there in 1928 with the Motilal Nehru Committee report, when Motilal Nehru ji and 8 other Congress leaders drafted a constitution for India. Yes, in that constitution, they just gave the fundamental rights provision also, and universal adult suffrage also. So that was the beginning of fundamental rights in the Indian constitution. In 1931, then the resolution at the Karachi session of Indian National Congress dwelled on how independent India's constitution look alike. Yes, that was a milestone in the making of the constitution, because few provisions of 1931 provision that they in the resolution, the things that were passed by the Congress, they were adopted in the 1946, while the Constituent Assembly made the constitution. The factors which contributed to the making of our constitutions are following. Basically, ideals of the French revolutions are very important. In fact, the French Revolution have an impact throughout the world. In 1789, France was, just had a revolution, and they just changed the way of ruling. Monarchy was there earlier in France, but when people rebel against the monarch, and monarch has to give up his powers, and finally France becomes a republic also. The practice of parliamentary democracy in Britain, it also influenced India a lot, and that is the main factor, that we ourselves will make the laws. The representatives of the people will frame the laws for the entire country. That was also adopted by the Constituent Assembly. The Bill of Rights of the USA, the concept of fundamental rights is taken from USA, and then we can say that the values that are associated with our constitutions are affected, basically influenced by different constitution of the world. The socialist revolution of Russia also affects India's Constituent Assembly. Let's see what happened next. This is a symbol of the Constituent Assembly of India. The drafting of a document called the Constitution was done by an assembly of elected representatives, and they were called Constituent Assembly. Basically, if we just want to know what was Constituent Assembly, Constituent Assembly was an assembly of the elected representatives who did the job of framing the constitution for the country. Dr. Rajendra Prasad was the chairman of the Constituent Assembly. On 9 December 1946, the first meeting was held, and it took around 2 years, 11 months and 18 days time to complete the constitution of the country. After the country was divided into India and Pakistan, the Constituent Assembly also got divided, and the Constituent Assembly that wrote the Constitution of India was having 299 members. Initially, when the Constituent Assembly was framed or elected, then it was having 389 members, but later on 299 members were left only. The Assembly adopted the Constitution on 26 November 1949, but the Constitution came into effect on 26 January 1950, and India becomes Republic on 26 January 1950. Let's see, as the Constitution came into effect on 26 January 1950, India celebrates this day as the Republic Day. The Constituent Assembly worked in a systematic, open and consensual manner. That's why this is the basic reason for a question. A question is asked to you many times in the examination, why should we follow the Constitution? This is the correct answer, because Constituent Assembly worked in a systematic, open and consensual manner, and the things which they people decided and did, they are quite relevant today, because few things which were not relevant, we have changed those things already. So the working of the Constituent Assembly was very systematic, open and consensual. We should follow the Constitution. Yes, what was done by the Constituent Assembly? First, some basic rules were decided and agreed upon. Constituent Assembly member just decided certain rules. Then a drafting committee chaired by Dr. Bhim Rao Ambedkar prepared a draft for the Constitution for discussion. More than 2,000 amendments were considered in the Constitution. Members deliberated for around 114 days spread over 3 years. So that was the Herculean task that the Constituent Assembly did. Now quickly just see the philosophy of the Constitution. The Constitution begins with a short statement of its basic values, which are called preamble to the Constitution. Preamble is basically the introductory statement of the Constitution. The preamble focuses on justice, and the social justice, political and economic justice, equality of status and opportunity, liberty of thoughts, expression, beliefs, faith and worship. Yes, everybody, every citizen of the country is equal. Social justice, political justice is given to the citizens of the country by the Constitution, and liberty is also there. Fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individuals, and unity of the integrity of the nation. So basically, if I say in conclusion, struggle for independence in both the countries, India and South Africa, made people from both sides to think about the Constitution and the basic rights for the people. And we must respect our values associated with the Constitution. Basically, we got our independence after a long struggle. So the values which are associated with the Constitution, like liberty, equality, fraternity, justice, integrity, sovereignty, secularism, democratic republic, these are the core of our Constitution. We must not forget all these things. So the chapter is complete. I hope you understand the chapter quite well. Leave your comment and definitely try to understand the chapter. See you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye. Students, there is a small correction at 22nd second of that video. By mistake I said that black were in minority. White people in Africa were in minority, and black people were in the majority. That was a small correction. Okay, so thank you to watch the video and enjoy it and understand the concept. Take care.